Hello everyone. So now we are live, and today I have a very, very special friend that is actually not only a friend, it's like family to me, is my sister, Michelle, Michelle Oravitz, from the Wholesome Fertility. And she's going to be talking today about increasing our fertility chi. But before I jump into you, Michelle, I'm going to tell them a little bit about who you are. Michelle is a licensed acupuncturist, also a fellow of the American Board of Oriental Reproductive Medicine, right? She's an Ayurvedic practitioner, certified hypnotherapist specializing in fertility health. She was inspired to change her career, which I know, she told me before, from architecture, what a jump, to acupuncture after having her own reproductive imbalance resolved by her acupuncturist. Her method of treatment encompasses not only with herbs and acupuncture, but also incorporates diet, supplements, essential oils, and most important, the mind and how these influence conception. She helps women and couples all over the world, both in person and online, and is the host of the amazing podcast, the Wholesome Fertility Podcast. Welcome, Michelle. You know how much I love you. I say that often.
Yes, Monica, I love you too. The feeling is mutual. We are like sisters from another mister, and we've had many past lives together. I know it for sure.
Yes. Oh, yes, for sure. I completely believe on that. So welcome to be in my group today. I love your approach. We really connect together. So incredible. You were the one that found me, and that connection has been since then amazing.
That's right.
I am actually wanted to tell my audience, I actually now got certified because I took Michelle's program. So now I can really say that I'm a fertility coach, like with yes, with all the things. So
you've always been a fertility coach.
Yeah, well, my journey, my journey inspired me, but it's beautiful to learn. And you know how I am. I'm a total nerd. I love to learn.
I totally get it.
Yes. So before jumping into our subject, I want our audience to know a little bit about your own journey, because that also was the inspiration from you to change, to do like that 180-degree change from architecture to this. It's nothing to do one with the other. So please let us know about your journey, and then you can jump into the subject that we have talking today.
Absolutely. So I was an architect and I was living a very imbalanced life. My hormones were all over the place. I was out of whack. Ever since I got my period at age 13, I was suffering from amenorrhea. For 3 months straight, I wouldn't get my period. Sometimes more, sometimes a little less, but it was very irregular. And the only solution I got from the doctors, which I was very surprised about, because 17, went to the gynecologist with my mom thinking, okay, I'm going to go and he's going to give me some kind of cure, because that's what doctors do. He's going to fix this and I'll come home and I'll know what to do. But then I was surprised to be given the birth control pill, because at the time I wasn't sexually active. And I thought, why am I getting the birth control pill? And he said, well, you're going to get your period now. And I said, but what if I get off? He said, well, you're going to be back to what you are now.
Wow.
Made no sense whatsoever. It was my first taste of that Band-Aid approach. Was very shocked and surprised at that age. But of course, I just took it because that's what it was. And I said, okay, let me try this. Didn't feel right when I was on the birth control pill. Probably, like many people, many people have the same story as me. I know that they get on birth control pill for pain or heavy bleeding, just to resolve all the symptoms, but it's not a true solution. So for many years, up until the age of 25, I was on and off the birth control pill because I took breaks. Intuitively, I knew that I needed to take breaks. I physically didn't feel right. I would be very bloated and I would retain a lot of water on the birth control pill. So I would take breaks and go back and forth until age 25. I remember very clearly, I decided to take a 3-month break to go to Europe backpacking. And it was like and then I even went to Cuba after that. I was like traveling.
Wow.
The whole time I was away, I didn't get my period. I was 25 years old. I came home and I was like, okay. Intuitively, something kind of pulled me, and I said to my mom, something's got to give. I need to resolve this. And the doctors aren't really helping, she said, "Oh, I just happened to find out about this acupuncturist. He was in Queens, New York." So we went to see him, and the same day I saw him, I came home and I got my period. And I also had a bag of herbs with me. You know, it was old school, like raw herbs that you cook, which today a lot of people don't do. We do pills a lot. The guy regulated me. Not only did I get regular, my skin cleared up. I started seeing him all the time. Everything changed. I emotionally felt like a different person. I was working at my work, which is high stress in New York City, very male dominant work, which I think also affects us physically. And I think that probably contributes to a lot of fertility factors, honestly. I think about my hormones, everything was out of balance and out of whack. I was so unaligned with what I was doing, the stress, everything. But even with that, even though I didn't really feel aligned with architecture, I still felt like I was able to handle stress better. Like people would say things to me, or there was a lot of pressure or whatever it was, undermine, you know, all the things that happen in corporate America seemed to roll off my back. I was able to handle it with stride. And I was like, whoa, okay, something's changing here with me.
Yes.
At the same time, I was also working a lot on the mind. I read The Power of the Subconscious Mind, just changed everything. Met my husband shortly after. And then eventually decided after a couple of years to go back to school for natural medicine, went to study. I started out with Ayurveda, which is an ancient Indian medicine. The only thing with that is it's not, there's no licensing. It's not quite as established. It wasn't, at least when I was there. And then stayed home, had kids, and I thank Dr. Lee so much, because had it not been for him resolving my issues, God even knows if I was ovulating at the time.
Yes.
So if it wasn't for him, like he gave me my fertility before I was even trying. So I know I would have been in the same boat had I not taken care of it earlier, which is one of the reasons I feel so passionate about doing what I do and specializing in fertility. So had the kids, worked as an artist for a little while because I didn't want to work, and then worked from home, and then eventually went back to school for acupuncture and then hypnotherapy. So now I work with a lot of women, helping them in person or online with my program. And it's one of the most amazing, most rewarding works of ever. And I feel like one of the things that helps true good health is aligning yourself also with what you do.
Yes.
Being able to express yourself with something that's aligned with who you are.
Yes.
I think that is a contributor either to suck the life out of you from the wrong one, or bring you life. Because when you find something you're aligned with, you would do it for free.
Yes, yes.
It's easy as breathing.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something, Michelle. You say something that is like a very important key on our fertility as women. Let's now to the female side, and it's our period. You know, we don't. When we were younger, they didn't tell us too much. I knew that one day I'm going to get it. My mom was a little bit open with that. But then once you get it, she explained me, it comes approximately every 28 to 30 days. Mine was very, steady. Yeah. However, it's on the details. Our body talks so strong to us. Mine was very heavy. That's why I had the fallopian tubes blocked. But you mentioned something so important today and even before. And I'm not saying nothing that I am against the medical part, but the pharmaceuticals, they always bring a side effect in anything that you do. Like you're gonna check today in commercials. Okay, I don't know an example. Simparica for whatever it is, depression, and they show the happy person and the little, but then in the end it's side effects. Yep. So it's a million of things,
and they have people smiling in the background with really lovely music to distract you, as if it's going to distract you from hearing all this stuff.
Yes, and it's exactly the same with the birth control pill. It's like, okay, it's going to fix you something, but then it's going to create some. For example, my gynecologist in Colombia was so honest. I love him. He used to tell me, I don't think it's good for you to take birth control because your breasts are so fibrocystic, and your levels of of estrogen by themselves are very high. So it's putting more, you're going to have cysts in your ovaries. It was the first doctor. He's a friend of my dad.
That's
I was like,
amazing. Wow. I love
wow,
hearing that. Yeah.
how you can, because you are a doctor, you're supposed to prescribe me that. And I realized, so if I need to get one day, have sex with my boyfriend or my husband, I need to find another way.
Yeah.
And look at you finding that way. And you felt, so you went for 8 years on birth control pill on and off.
Yes. And yeah, for a very long time, you bring up such a good point. I really want to mention this because when I went to school for Ayurveda, my teacher, Light, who has since passed away, was an amazing woman. She said something that stuck with me forever. She talked about herbs. We treat with herbs and food and other things as well, especially with Ayurveda. It's the cousin of Chinese medicine, so it's very similar. But what she said was herbs, first of all, come from the earth. They're like food. They have life force. That's number one. They have life force. They come from life. Number one, we come from life.
Yes.
Number two, they have DNA. We have DNA, right?
Yes.
So there's this intelligence. So yeah, some of them can be strong, and it's important not to have the wrong herbs. It can cause side effects, but very mild compared to pharmaceuticals. What happens in pharmaceuticals? They say, yeah, it comes from plants, but what happens? They strip them of DNA and they take only the chemical. What happens is they become like robots, and the robots keep going and going and going with not knowing when to stop because there's no intelligence. There's no communication. And that's the difference. And so when they keep going, whereas herbs, they're able to communicate. Their constituents are made compatible with ours because they grow with life just like we do, with life force. So there's the difference. And you could do that with food. You can treat yourself. I mean, you can use it as medicine.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely agree. So like that's how you became, from architect to being there. And I can tell all our audience that you really love what you do as much as I do. That's why probably we connect together too, because
it's a passion.
It is absolutely a passion. And Michelle has treated many people, and you have some success. So now I really want you to jump into the subject that you're gonna talk. You have a lot of knowledge, and if you in the audience have questions, you can post them here, tag us while we go over. So is increase your fertility chi. So let's jump on that, Michelle, please.
Yeah. So I talk about the fertility chi. And basically what chi is, if nobody's ever heard of chi, it's a Chinese medicine term. It's really the core, and it's such an important, vital part. It's a cornerstone really of Chinese medicine. And chi really refers to life force. It's a life force energy. Some people say, they actually look back because it's in history. Everything was written almost in, I guess, almost like code. We can really look into the way they're describing. Am I freezing?
Yes, you are freezing a little bit. Let me see. Yes.
Okay. Let me know when I need to repeat myself. I'll repeat myself.
Yes. Okay. Go back.
Basically, chi is life force. And so there's a lot of different philosophies on what it really is and what it consists of.
Okay.
But it's life force energy. It's basically what gives life to people. It's what keeps our body warm. It's, how a live body is warm. Not to sound morbid, but like as soon as that life ends, it gets cold.
Yes, so that's why in our stomach, also on the period, it's very important that we keep our stomach warm because the cold gets together and, you feel bloated, and that's where the pain comes. Okay, makes sense.
Yes, and you need to also keep it warm for fertility.
Yes.
And why does the, temperature increase in the basal body temperature when it's about to, it's preparing to really hold life.
Yes.
So it's very important to keep things warm. So chi basically can be compared to prana. Prana is like the Indian word.
Yes.
Prana speaks more about breath. But think about what happens when the first thing that happens in life when a person's born, the first thing is the
air. Yes, breathe.
So breath is like at the center of this life force energy.
Yes.
And so there's many ways that you can improve the chi. Now, how does the chi translate to fertility?
Fertility, yeah.
We have, it's incredible, but we have something called the mitochondria in cells, right?
Yes, yes.
And so
it's
the
part of the cell.
mitochondria is an organelle in the cell. You know, the cell has many different organelles and different things that brings it life.
Mhm.
It has DNA, it has everything. Mitochondria, by the way, it has its own DNA. And so mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It's like the little power plant in every
Okay.
cell.
Okay.
And in every regular cell, you have about 5,000 to 7,000 mitochondria. But in the eggs, you have
Yes.
300,000
Mitochondria?
mitochondria. But think about it. It needs so much energy because it's about to form life. And if you
Yes.
look at a plant that sprouts, it's like a woman
Yes.
that is pregnant.
Yes.
We are sprouting, right?
Yes.
And in order to sprout, you need all the energy possible to bring it forth, to support that sprout.
Yes.
So chi is everything. I mean, it's chi and blood really for fertility, especially with women, but also with men, because chi is going to make a difference also in sperm health.
In sperm, yes.
That's right. So there's many different ways that we can harness chi. And one of the ways is through diet. What we
Through
eat,
diet. Okay. Yes.
right? And
So agree.
we can choose food that has life, or we can choose food that is lifeless.
Okay. That's interesting.
Think about
So,
the pharmaceuticals. Let's go back to that.
yes.
We talked about pharmaceuticals. We strip the DNA. That's processed food.
Yes. Processed
Okay.
food is so true.
If you want to look at herbs, you want to look at something natural, that's whole foods. It's
Yes.
food that is not processed. That is what nature's always intended for us,
Yes.
and that we get off of the earth.
Yes.
And the earth has life force. Now, these days, because of overproduction, we've lost our connection with how we treat the soil. The soil is depleted now compared to what it used to be, which is why supplementing is so important, especially with fertility.
Yes.
Which is why sometimes I honestly, you know, I hate to say it, but like my patients gag from the supplements I give them, but they have to. It's very important, especially in the beginning, to really get all that energy and to put it together and to get that force, energy, life before sprouting, to prepare for that sprout,
Yes.
to prepare the soil, to prepare, you know, the soil I see is like the uterine lining.
Yes.
So one of the ways to do it is through diet. Now, it's important to have whole foods. It's important to have also an awareness, which is amazing because Mother Nature is perfect.
Yes.
Mother Nature will let you know what is good and what is not good for you because you feel symptoms. If you eat something and you feel like crap, it's not good for you. It's
Absolutely.
just as simple as that.
Yes.
If you eat something and you just feel tired or bloated or irritable, or and you're going to start noticing that,
yes,
it means that it's not good for you.
Exactly. You mentioned something interesting, and I must ask you that question. So you say it's through food, you know. So it's life and lifeless, right? So lifeless is the processed food. And I know what I'm going to ask you could be a little bit controversial because, you know, we are here vegan. So lifeless is something dead, right? So how, for example, you will approach that part of lifeless when the protein that is recommended, for example, is fish, is coming from an animal protein, it doesn't, but it's lifeless, it's dead. So
that's
how
right.
you can relate that with the other part of life?
Although it still has DNA and it still has, and it depends on how you do it too, you know?
Okay.
If you do it, that's why, you know, like kosher, for example, or like organic, the way they treat the animal, the fear that they feel, there is something to that.
You say the answer. That's amazing. It's because I didn't even thought about that. DNA and the way the food is get treated to them. Perfect.
That's right. And it's almost like and listen, everybody has their way of doing things. Yes. However, if you are going to choose to be vegan, it's important to have like choline, certain supplements, B vitamins. You
B12,
have to be very, very smart about how you do it.
Yes.
So it's very much workable. You just have to be very aware of how you're supplementing your body and what you're eating to make sure, because there's many vegans who decide to be vegan, but they don't know what to eat.
Oh no, it's very
And they
difficult.
deplete themselves. They really deplete themselves, and it can be dangerous.
Totally
It can be
agree with
dangerous.
you. And there is a lot of also vegan foods that they have a lot of processing in their ingredients.
Yeah.
So it's
And
not
gluten free as well. Same thing. They
exactly.
can process it, so you have to just be very aware and mindful of how you choose to do it, which is why sometimes it's important to even like plan out your meals and really think about how you're going to do this. Give
Yes.
yourself a menu. Sometimes it's as like simple as that, just giving yourself a menu. Maybe not simple at first because you have to kind of figure it out, but at least you have a game plan and
Yes.
you're not winging it, because it is something that you need to be conscientious of to make sure that you're getting the right nutrients.
Yes, absolutely.
And one of the things that can affect your nutrients is food sensitivities, because you're so inflamed, you're not able to process the food. So it doesn't matter how many supplements you're taking. If your body's not able to process it, you're going to be depleted.
Yes, it's true.
So it's kind of like, but all that is something that you can have through just body awareness, mindfulness, listening to your body, because there was a time where we all learned how to survive without nutrition. Nutritionists weren't even a thing. Even doctors weren't a thing. They were like maybe shaman or people that understood the body a little bit better.
Yes.
Back in the day, we're talking, but this is where we came from. Let's not forget where we came from. Our body is programmed. Animals in the wild, how do they know they're sick? They feel it. They stop eating. Yes. They fast. They know what foods make them feel good. They know what foods they, so that instinct we have. So it's important to get back into it. I'm not saying don't go to nutritionists. Of course, you can also do tests and figure out if you have sensitivities. Nowadays, we might as well take advantage of technology and what's available to us. But don't forget you have the power too.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And I am agree with that. We have doctors, we have help, but we also need to listen, like you just said, to our body. So that's one of the things, our nutrition, like that's what right. we put in our body. What other things are into that subject?
Yep. Number 2, breath work.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
We don't know how to breathe. We it's beautiful. Breath is both involuntary and voluntary. So I will give you an example of just like what happens when, first of all, it'll give you vitality. So we don't breathe fully. Not only do we not breathe fully, most of us don't belly breathe. We breathe through the chest. Yes, and that is not, and belly breathe, what you're doing is you're expanding the amount of breath that you're having. And it's a habit. I've taught myself that in my 20s. I remember learning about it because I was going to yoga, and I taught myself how to belly breathe. And now I belly breathe. And people like sometimes that are aware, or like body workers, are like, oh my God, a belly breather. Like that, like, what do you know? That's amazing. And I'll tell you, it increased my vitality, my energy, and it also feeds your cells. It feeds your mitochondria. It needs oxygen in order to create chi.
It's insane because, like you notice, belly breathe is when you expand your belly and then you contract it, right?
That's right. And guess what? It also massages your diaphragm. It gets your diaphragm to move. That's also a very important thing to access and to stimulate is your diaphragm. Yeah. And it also creates peace and calm. So you get something amazing. I love it because it's called Calm Alert. I love this. Calm. You feel really relaxed, but you're super vibrant energy. All we know is like getting caffeine and having this jittery energy, or feeling calm and really tired after wine. But you can actually be calm and alert, which is awesome. You have this mental clarity, but you're energized and you feel great. And so when you're doing this deep breathing, you can actually create this state of calm alert, but you're also inducing oxygen and getting it into your tissues and your system.
Yes, it's so true. In that
Ho'oponopono.
Yes,
I love it.
And I have to bring it back because there is one exercise that this doctor says how you can handling by doing that breathe exercise that is so simple. Is count to 10 when you breathe in, then hold the 10 and then count to 10 when you breathe out.
That's right.
And you can travel anywhere in the world and don't have a jet lag. So, and I did it, and it's like, I even fall to sleep. I'm like, what you just said, calm and alert. It's teaching
Yes.
us so much, and we really don't know how to breathe. It's always from here, from the chest.
That's right. So you increase your breath, and you could do this by doing exercises like you just said, or a breath of fire, which brings more chi and heat.
Yes.
Your belly, which is really where you want it, especially when you're trying to conceive.
Yes.
So that's really important. Obviously, don't do that if you are like actively getting pregnant.
Yes.
Or doing IVF, like major retrievals around that time when it's sensitive. I would hold off on that, but you could do deep breathing anytime.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So breathing, food. Now, what else?
So that's really important. And then, so breathing, not only that, as a side note, even though this is not to do with chi, what that's going to do is it's also going to help you get mental clarity. And I know in the fertility journey, we need mental clarity more than anything. When we're sitting in front of the doctor's office and they're telling us something that doesn't quite feel aligned, and sometimes it's not really based in truth, even though they believe it's true. That's why I say multiple opinions. It gets you into your body, that breath work, and it gets you in a state of calm.
Yes.
Is important for mental clarity. So then you make these wise decisions that are based in your truth and not based in not, being overwhelmed, that overwhelmed.
Yes.
So the
or
breath
someone else truth.
that.
Yeah. Yes,
It's gonna help with
absolutely.
that. So another thing is exercise. So exercise also forces us to breathe deep. It kind of forces breath.
Yes.
So exercise is really important. However, if you exercise enough, you'll get more chi. If you exercise too much, you lose chi.
So when we do know when it's too much or enough, I guess it's our body will tell us, right?
Our bodies will tell us we're exhausted. Doing any of those, especially when you're trying to conceive. I've had many heated conversations.
Hold on, you are freezing again, so you have. Hold on.
Sorry.
That's okay. Don't worry. Technology is not perfect. So now you have many heated conversations.
I have, because I know there's many people that are very protective over their workout routine, especially if it's like, some of the CrossFits and and I get it. I'm addicted to my thing too. However, I still don't back down because I feel very strongly about it. And I've seen people's thyroid levels go down, like get depleted, and cortisol go up, and adrenal fatigue from that. It's no good. And very few people can do that, get pregnant, no problem, go carry it through. Very few. That is the exception and not the rule.
Yes.
It actually depletes your energy. So so exercising is fine. Even running's fine. But no, we're not talking 5-mile marathons or whatever, none of that. I would say moderation.
Yes,
moderation is key. Ideally, yoga. Ideally, it really works well.
That's the best.
So yoga.
Yes, I was going to like a kind of CrossFit a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago. And in my group, it's heavy. Michelle is very heavy. And I was like you said, very unique people. There was this lady that she was almost 6-7 months pregnant, and she would go like the other ones. I was like so scared. I was like, at what time she's gonna, maybe have the baby here,
Yeah.
They, like you say, it's become like an addiction. Anything can be addictive.
It is an addiction.
It is. And then she recognized that it was, and I was like, asking her one time, you are not scared? And she was like, no, I've been doing it the whole 3 pregnancies. That was her 3rd pregnancy. But she's
a unique person, and what her body's telling her, it's fine. And that's a very unusual thing. It's not, it's exception, not the rule. But there's exceptions for everything.
Absolutely.
There's so many people that are just born with incredible chi. Chi is pre-heaven and post-heaven. We can get it we can get the lottery from our parents with chi.
Okay, like genetically, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
You can gain the lottery. However, some people gain the lottery and they piss it away, with drinking, having a horrible lifestyle. And then some people have very little, but they conserve it so well.
Yes.
That they're able to extend it and actually change what they were born with. Yes. But some people have both. Some people have the great chi, and they also take care of their bodies. So they have excess chi to just wander off and, but it's not very typical, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yes, I think in our fertility it's really important to have that kind of balance, especially when
That's
we
right.
are having the issues that we have, either it's trying to conceive naturally or through IVF, like I went through. I think balance is also a key into that.
That's right. And also, so exercise, that was the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And the fourth one is sleep.
Yes.
Sleep, sleep, sleep. Sleep is when our body restores and balances our hormones. Sleep is when we get chi. Sleep is when we recharge. Now, I know many people have difficulties with sleep. It's like insomnia is on the rise. So I'm going to give a couple of tips on what can help.
Perfect,
Number
because
one,
I am one of that ones sometimes.
Many people.
Yes.
One of the things is no screen time.
No
2
screen.
hours before, no screen time. Screen time is going to confuse your melatonin. I know it's an addiction. I'm addicted. I'm going to be the first to admit I'm addicted to my devices. I love my device. I read my books there, everything. I watch courses on it and everything. You know, that's my kind of source, and I get that. Maybe what I always say, whenever you feel like it's hard to change something, find a substitute. So use that time to maybe journal or read books, actual real books.
Yeah.
A quiet little nightlight, you know, something small.
Yes.
They have those little like the glass things or the plastic things that you could put on the page.
Okay.
They will show you the words, but it won't like wake you up enough. It's not enough to wake you up.
Oh.
So it lights up only the words, but the light's not coming in your eyes or anything like that.
Wow, that makes so much sense because, you know, sleep is like you say, is recovering. For example, when you are sick and you sleep, you need sleep. And then after even a long nap, you wake up and you have a little bit of energy. Sleep is such an important thing. It's so true.
Yes.
What other tips for that insomnia thing? Because telling you it's becoming a sickness in the world.
Another tip is, believe it or not, meditation. Yes. It is, and a lot of it's because of the way we're living, and we're too active. We have too much yang. We need to kind of like bring it down and ground. So that's why a couple of hours before you go to sleep, ground. Have some chamomile tea. Just settle down. Dim the lights, because that's how the body knows that it's nighttime, that it's ready to go to sleep. So then the lights, then you'll eventually just get drowsy in the dark. That's just normal. That's what happens. That's how we're programmed. Our body is so programmed. It's beautiful. So now meditation. When you're calm, you can actually sleep better. You'll be able to ease into sleep better. So you're coming from a place of peace, and it also helps you. Meditation trains your mind, because you're thinking the thoughts, but you're going to the breath, or you're going to the mantra. You have one thing that's like constantly grounding you, or it's like a state of focus that you're bringing yourself back to, and it brings you back to the present moment. When that happens over time, you're training your mind not to be so reactive to your thoughts, and those thoughts won't be able to have control over you at night when you're trying to sleep. You're going to be able to let them go more easily, because sleep is an act of surrender.
Okay.
So meditation teaches you to surrender.
Yes, it's so true.
You have to surrender in order to sleep.
Yes. When I go to sleep, I am that kind of person that I have trillions of thoughts. And then sometimes I remember things, and then I start to think about the tomorrow.
That's right.
Trust me,
happens to everybody. It's very normal.
It doesn't let me sleep.
It's very normal.
Yes.
But now we're living in a time, especially when we're entrepreneurs or, dealing with our own business like you do. So those things will we have more than normal overload, which is why meditation is so good, because it processes that thought. It cleanses the mind. It really does. It clears you so that you're able to actually tackle it much better. It pretends to need your thoughts all the time, but it's not true. If you let it go for a little bit, you'll actually be able to function and deal with the things much better.
Makes sense. And especially when we are going through like a journey like IVF or any ART, for getting pregnant, is when our thoughts are basically around that. So it's all the time. So, and I know that some people, I understand why they, for example, get a little bit triggered when we tell them to try their best to calm down, to try meditation. Oh my gosh, I am in my fifth cycle. How you pretend me? But is what you just exactly said. We need to train ourselves because calm definitely can bring things in a much better way. It's, you know, it's like an opening.
The way I see it is it's a tool. It's a tool I give my patients. That's it. I don't give advice or say, you know, this is a tool. It's one of the toolboxes. And I totally get how insulting it could be to say, just relax. Because I get insulted when somebody tells me to relax. I mean, give me a break. I mean, it's like, relax, you know.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, so I totally get it. But the way I see it is just, it's a tool. It's a tool from the toolbox. And it's not a tool for everybody. Some people prefer to take a walk. And they just say, okay, maybe that clears their mind. You have to find something that really resonates with you. Could be just listening to relaxing music. We are so responsive to relaxing music too, by the way.
Yes.
Listening to to sound in general is very, very, so something like binaural beats you can listen to, you can get that for free. You can even go on YouTube. It's called binaural beats.
Wow.
BINAURAL.
Okay.
And it's like a lazy man's meditation. You can listen to it. You have to listen to it with the audios because it's different on the left and the right. And it's two different sounds, and it gets our mind to kind of get into the state of just peace. It's like a state of meditation. It induces meditation, kind of puts it on your mind.
Binaural beats. Okay, that's very
That's a great thing to listen to before you go to sleep.
And you know, it's all what you just have said is so connected to prepare us mentally, you know, physically and emotionally to be in a, you know, to start to have like a tool, a step into, you know, making it better for whatever we are going through. In this case, you know, our fertility journey, you know, to increase our fertility, no matter what we are doing, if it is naturally or by ART, but our body respond to that kind of things.
Yeah. And the way I see it is it takes the edge off. You know, there's no way to take the stress out of the situation. It's a stressful situation, period. It is a stressful situation.
Yes.
There's no two ways about it.
No.
It's just the way it is. You're going in, you know, you get treated like a number, you get injected with a million different things. I mean, it's just, your hormones are it's a stressful situation, period.
Yes.
And that's what I think we all need to acknowledge. And it's not even there's no question about that.
Not at all. And you mentioned that it's so important. We need to be aware it's a situation that we cannot control. It's out of our control.
Completely.
So by being aware of that, by accepting that it's out of our control and having just the tools that you just mentioned, then we have a choice, you know, either is okay, so I'm going to go crazy with this, or I'm going to accept what it is. It's difficult. It's not easy. I know that it's crazy. I'm going to be in a roller coaster, but I'm going to choose to use as much tools as I can to make it a little better because it's out of control. Totally agree with you. Yes.
Yeah.
What else? You know, trust me, I've been there 5 times.
I mean, it's a really tough thing, and sometimes part of it's just, you know, you're stressed. It is what it is, and there's no that's the thing. There's no denying it, or you know, it's not something to deny within yourself. It's about allowing yourself to even feel stressed. Allow that without resistance. However, if you want, you use these tools to take the edge off, to make it easier for you to go through it. You know, because it is you need all the support you can get.
Yes, you cannot, you know, in this journey, it's like, oh, I'm going to jump here and avoid all of this. There is no way. You need to go over. So it's like you just mentioned, to go through it. Now, Michelle, I want to ask you, because I know our audience will want to know where they can find you. You know, where. So, of course, below the video, I'm going to put your website, all your handles. And, you know, if you have any freebie or any resource that they can find from you. Why I ask this always to my guests? Because not everybody can connect with my approach or others' approach. And they might find your approach for them, like you just said, our body, our intuition talk. And I love people to have the choice and the chance to have other visions, you know, oh, look, maybe in my group there is someone that says, this is the person that I needed, you know, I like her approach. So where we can find you?
First of all, I want to say this is what is so beautiful about you, Monica. Monica is just an open heart. She just wants people to do well. She doesn't care about how this, that, or the other. She just wants to help people. And I love you for that.
Thank you so much.
That's why you're my sister.
Well, you are exactly the same. It's like unconditional. It's not, it's nothing.
No.
I help you with the condition of expecting something. It doesn't work like that.
No.
Doesn't work to me like that.
No, and also in this field, I think a lot of us, we just love what we do. We
Yes.
love helping people.
Yes.
So I created basically my 10 top tips on or fertility boosting habits.
Okay.
So there's 10 things that I put in. It's an ebook that I have. You can find it on my website. When you go on, it's like you get a pop-up and you can get it there. It's The Wholesome. So the website is The Wholesome Lotus Fertility.com. And I also have my podcast, which is the Wholesome Fertility Podcast. And I have also hypnosis audios, and one of them is for sleep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's on there. It's geared towards fertility.
Okay, you also have Instagram. You are very active in Instagram, so
Yes.
Because a lot of our community goes there, and you have at the Wholesome Lotus Fertility, right? If people
Correct.
wants to connect you with that,
Yes.
and she is also a member here in my group. So please do not hesitate to ask questions below the video. Even if the video is posted after we finish, you just tag me or tag Michelle. She will be able to see in the notifications the tags, and you can ask questions. She will come back and answer. And as I said, you can find her also in Instagram, where we both are very active. Instagram is a very, very good place for, fertility coaching and also fertility, journeys, people that is going through that.
Tips and
you can even create your own users without even the name. And it keeps, I think it keeps private, but, it's time to talk about it and to, be open, because the only way to find the emotional support that we needed, and I tell you by my own experience, is to be open about it. If I would go back and find someone like you, like me, like anyone, oh my God, it would be much better.
It's a game changer.
It is. Oh, yeah, that's the word. Thank you so much, Michelle, for being with us. And she's going to be with me also in few days,
Yes.
a few weeks in Instagram, because we're going to start to work also our Instagram's lives. And please, again, feel free to ask questions. Tag Michelle, tag me. And you are always welcome. I'm going to try to have once or twice Facebook Lives with every one of my friends and my fellow coaches. Thank you so much. And maybe any last message, any last words for our audience, inspirational or something?
Yes. So I always just say, we process emotions through our bodies. Just give yourself, especially when I feel really strongly about listening to your intuition. We have this gut feeling. And so many times I've had patients come to me after being told they could not get pregnant on their own. And after a few months, something inside of them said, no, I'm not going to buy that. Or they went and got second opinion, third opinion. And sometimes that third opinion will say, no, I don't agree with that first opinion. And, I think about how many people have listened to that first opinion and believed it. And those people that didn't believe it, that ended up coming to me or trying different ways, got pregnant naturally. I almost say, I wish they could just send a letter to the doctor and let them know, maybe not to be so quick with their diagnosis or prognosis, really, to tell them what their future looks like. So I recommend hold on to your power. Hold on to your power. You have so much power.
Yes, it's true. We do.
Yeah. So hold on to that power. Believe in that power.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for being here. So I will see you in our next live. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.